Hello, YouTube. Still waiting for TikTok to catch up. Oh, there, now we got people on TikTok. Unclebirch coming to you live on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. Oh, wow. Hello. Oh, all right, so all of a sudden TikTok caught up. YouTube, you got to catch up. I'm coming to you live on two different screens, two different platforms. How the hell are you? I'm looking at all the people joining. Hello, people joining. God, I should never wear a shirt with white on it. I can't see your names. But hello, all you people joining. I'm Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans, where I teach witchcraft for a living. That tends to be what we spend most of our time talking about here. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Brian, over there on YouTube. Hello, all you people over here. If I don't know where you're from, let me know where you're from. Okay. Reconnecting on YouTube. All right. I'm taxing my internet connection. Arizona, how the hell are you? Imagine it's probably hot there. Jackson, New Jersey over here on YouTube. Hello, Jackson, New Jersey. Okay, nobody else wants to tell me where they're from, apparently. Connecticut, Danbury, Connecticut. Hello. Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans. Just a lovely day. It's kind of warm, a little bit of a breeze. Can you hear that? Can you guys hear the calliope in the background? It's ever so slight, but it's out in the distance. Hello, Florida, Iowa, Nebraska over here on YouTube, Philadelphia. Hello. How are you all? Hope you had a lovely holiday and shit. Ready for another shit year to start.
I'm here from NOLA already. COVID cases in NOLA have increased exponentially this past week. Mask up, work remotely if possible, limit household exposure, and get tested often.
Wow. Tennessee, hello. Laura Elizabeth, yeah, well, good to see you too. I've been going live relatively often on YouTube, doing this dual broadcast thing. I'm on TikTok on this screen, YouTube on this screen, doing the dual broadcast in a very low-tech way, but it works. And I never turn my phone in when I get a new one, so I got this other phone sitting around doing nothing. So, what's my experience with racism? Well, you know, Rhode Island, hello, Kansas, hello. I see it all the time. I guess, you know, my first experience, I've often told this story. I was new to Long Beach. I was new at my high school. I was ditching my first period. And I grew up in pretty much mostly Latino kids, a few white kids, and a lot of Cambodians and Vietnamese kids in the area where I grew up. And I'd never really interacted with a black person. And it's, so I'm ditching school, and I saw this guy sitting there, this black guy, and I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, you know," introduced myself. I said, "You get high?" And he said, "What are you, 5'0", 5'0"? I said, I didn't know what a 5'0" or a 6'0" or any of that was. I said, I don't even know what that is, man. I was like, I'm new here. I got this fat sack, and I don't like to smoke alone. And he goes, "Cuz," gave me a big hug. He turned out to be a Crip. So the first black guy I ever met was a Crip. Hung out with him smoking pot. My naive little white ass listened to him tell me war stories about homies that died in his arms, drive-by shootings, shit. I'm just like, whoa, dude. Here, dude. Oh my God, shit. And he ended up becoming a really good friend of mine. I ended up being able to hang out in the hood at the park on Saturday, where it was pretty much Long Beach was all Crips. So there's other gangs that would drive in, but there was no Bloods in Long Beach. Yeah, first black guy I met was a Crip. I just, race just really wasn't a thing to me. I didn't really understand it. It didn't, I just walked up to this person. So that was my first experience. Well, not really with racism, but probably with race, or at least with that race. But hopefully that story had some significance. I love your chick talks. They never fail to crack me up. Oh, good. I was raised in the South, sisterhood. Those East Side lingos, yes. Crip our enemies, my hood. East Side Longeros, 13. Okay. Silver Moon, what kind of pagan? There you go. What kind of pagan can you call yourself if you work/worship deities from different pantheons? Just a pagan. The Romans fucked that all up. The Vikings fucked it up too. The Romans would take the gods of the conquered to the new lands that they were conquering. They would absorb them into their fold, and the Vikings did a similar thing too. They carried those gods around, so there really is no limitation what pantheon you could work with. 10 Viking, absolutely no, I am not Christian at all. I went to Venice High School in 68. Okay, so you're probably older than me. I was born in 65, so. Did spend some time in Venice when we lived in Hollywood. Hey, can you guys shut up? Quit barking at the neighbor's cat, man. I should probably do a money magic on Gumroad. Huh. Oh, Eastside Longer. I just thought it was Longos. Eastside Longos. I thought Long Beach was Longos in Spanish. Yeah, well, I ended up being a cop in that town for a few years, so I definitely ran into them too. But that's a whole different story. Hannah's got to run. See you, Hannah. Yeah, I don't know if I have done a money spell on Gumroad yet. You're right. What would Jesus say? Jesus would bitch slap half of these bitches. He would stick his foot so far up Trump's ass, it would never come out. Not the Jesus kids here spreading gospel. Okay. This gospel of which they speak, I'm often saying, Lady Witch said hi to Marta and Unclebirch.
Hi.
I'm often saying, if this God that has his word in a book wanted everybody to know his message, he could blast it on Gabriel's horn to the entire planet all at once. He wouldn't trust humans with his message because we can't be trusted. And if I can figure that out and God can't figure that out, then I have outdone God. So, yeah. Go Brandon. Oh, that's always good. Hey, fuck Donald Trump. That's how you say it. Adults use the F word. Y'all think you're so clever and we're triggered by that. So, no, we literally have 10 different hip-hop songs where the entire lyrics, even the chorus, is just fuck Donald Trump. So you want to say fuck Joe Biden, just fucking say it, man. Act like a fucking grown-up. Yeah, but in-depth program would be good. Okay. Going down the rabbit hole of the Minoan goddess and traditions. Yeah. The Minoan snake goddess, she was badass. Do you think if we take the vaccine, we will become the island boys trying to make it? I don't know. I got all 3 vaccines. Marta got all 3 vaccines. Our kids got 2 of the 2 vaccines. We're fine. We're fine, and we get to have a life, For those of you that don't want to get vaccinated, enjoy your time at home, away from the rest of us responsible citizens that are taking care of our society. You're going to get to stay home, be unemployed, nobody going to date you. It's going to be a very lonely life. We're out here enjoying life, enjoying all that New Orleans has to offer. Necklaces look badass. Thank you. It's the Chimaruta and a pentacle. Also, we got where is it? Sometimes it slips around. The horn for Fortuna.
Pepper.
And the key for Hecate. want to get vaccinated, but I don't qualify. Thanks for rubbing salt in my wounds. Oh, sorry about that.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe she's got a medical condition or something like that.
Yeah, but there's very few medical conditions.
Screw that. I want to be a beastie boy. Well, I know Laura Elizabeth's not too young to get it. Okay, I don't know why you don't qualify. Yeah, it is a choice. You know, people talking about the tyranny, blah, 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 blah. Nobody forcing you to get it. If you want to interact with society, however, you're going to have to get it. And increasingly so, all over the world, there's fewer and fewer things that you can partake in of this world unless you get vaccinated. So nobody's forcing you. It's kind of like nobody can force you to have a social security number. You don't have, it's actually against the Constitution for you to be forced to have a social security number. However, you can't engage in most things in society in America without one, so we all choose to get one. But they cannot force you to get one. You can make up a tax ID number, and that can be your tax ID number for the rest of your life, but you will not get all of the services that your taxes pay for. Of course, I'm absolutely right. Thank you. Hail Hecate, hail Hecate. I still don't know why Laura Elizabeth isn't qualified, but maybe you'll tell me later. My kids know I have it. I'm not a zombie yet. Yeah, absolutely. Can you share some experience of yours with Hecate? There's a certain invocation to Hecate that I give away to my students in my class. And first time and most times they've ever done that invocation, every dog in the neighborhood starts howling, even without the presence of a siren or anything. It's kind of invocation that you definitely know she arrived. Majorly prone and prone to anaphylaxis. Oh, and always from vaccines and medications.
And anaphylactic shock.
Yeah, and I have asthma. So yeah, on the plus side, I haven't gotten COVID, but I did get pneumonia last year. Well, at the very least, you got to be really careful and not catch a whole lot of things.
I mean, a lot of people who have anaphylactic shock will still get it, but then they'll just be watched after they get it and treated if they go into anaphylactic shock. So people can still get it.
Yeah. Jay Lovely over here on YouTube, they're saying that Cindy with an I, Brannon, has amazing books on Hecate. And I'm not familiar with that author. I just figured I'd pass that along. Anytime I mention anaphylaxis, the doctors immediately switch gears and are like, nope, sorry. That does suck, doesn't it? How many students do I take on? There is no limit. I've got hundreds of students at the present time, and if all of my students, once they're my students, they become my kids forever, and there's thousands of those all over the world. Matter of fact, we're figuring out now we have to do like mass initiations of a couple hundred people all over the world, and we're having to rewrite the initiation rituals to fit that format, because that's the world we live in. Okay, I'm just going back and forth, making sure I don't miss anything. Good crowd on both platforms today. Keep me busy, keep me on my toes. So let's go Brandon guy leave. I haven't seen him in a while. Beginning to learn where I fit. Yes. Well, I teach all kinds of courses. My next course starts January 1st. So it'll be January 1st, 2022. Hey, Grammy Druid, how the hell are you? Until January 1st, so you don't want to go to Witch School, WITCHSKEWL, and click on the wrong class. It will say Witch School Level 1, January 2022. So basically, it won't rhyme. So that'll be the class, but it will not exist. So what you do is you go to gumroad.com/witchschool, WITCHSKEWL, and you follow me, and midnight-ish, when I post the class, actually probably later than that because we're going to be out that night. Whenever we get home, I will post that class, and then you will get a notification that class is posted, and then you can go join. If you're, you don't have the cash, it's $35 a month, so it's like $420 for the year. I do have something, or even while you're waiting, maybe an appetizer over here on YouTube, the other screen I'm pointing at. I do have an Intro to Witchcraft course. I believe it's about 8 classes, and that's totally free. So, and then I do this. I do my public service work all over the internet, letting people ask me all kinds of random questions about witchcraft. We got Grammy Druid over here. That's cool. Let's see. Attitude Caffeinated says worth every single penny. This rise of spiritual people was caused by Pluto and Sagittarius and Scorpio. I guess the rise of spiritual people was caused by Pluto in Sagittarius and Scorpio. Okay. I can't argue with that. Lady Witch, only because we pay you. Yeah. Somebody did say that. It was pretty funny. Here I am. I'm teaching. Like right now, I'm literally. It will probably go. You won't hear it, but my phone will go ka-ching, ka-ching. Today is. I got several students that pay today, and it will pop up here. So I'm sitting here while I'm talking to you, making money, teaching about witchcraft. But then over here on YouTube, I've been teaching witchcraft on YouTube for close to 15 years now. That's all free. And then I'm on YouTube and TikTok at the same time teaching witchcraft for free. So yeah, I'm a money grubbing motherfucker, ain't I? And those kids over here, those ones that took my free course, they're still my kids. They're still my kids. I do not like the term baby witch, but I've always referred to my students as my kids, even though I'm your uncle. It's confusing, I know. I'd love to be a witchcraft teacher someday. Well, over here on TikTok, my students are starting to flower. I've been teaching there for a while, and I've gotten a lot of TikTok witches in my classes, and I'm just starting to become aware of who they all are. And slowly but surely, I'm stitching their videos and heaping praise on them because, as I said, my students are going to have a profound influence on witches of TikTok, all of those places, and hopefully we'll tip the balance because there's so many people teaching absolute bullshit over there. All of my students that I've found over there are doing a fucking great job, and I absolutely advocate them teaching, even though, they haven't studied for that long. So once you know that particular piece of the subject that you're going to teach that shit. You'll know it better. For the record, I haven't taken a single class yet. At 10 years following Birch, I learned a ton of things. That's Lady Witch. I love rewatching your old videos. Always get something new from them. Laura Elizabeth, thank you. I've taken your free course on here, and they're amazing. The Penny Witch. All right, that's all from YouTube. Over here, we got... My name is D. Fuck, I'm a witch. Nice to meet you. Mary meets. Baby witch. Weird as fuck. If you're a witch, you're a witch. That's it. I know, and I've done that. I've made videos about that. Now I disagree with the terminology of baby witch, but I have had little effect on the world. The world wants to do what it's going to do. So as such, while we're talking about the year and a day courses that I have over there at gumroad.com/witch school, WITCHSKEWL. Maybe somebody could type that in the comments so I can quit saying that all the time. For the millennial witches or the impatient witches that don't want to take a whole year and a day to study a course, my bundles have been selling like hotcakes lately. So I have my old level 1 course bundled, where you can buy half the course and then buy the other half of the course when you have the money. I also have my older level 1 and advanced courses bundled. It's all, a reduced price, but you can just binge watch the shit. You can study a year and a day's worth of witchcraft in like a week if you really are committed. And people are doing that. That's not the way I was raised. That's not the way I was taught. The year and a day was important, but you cannot dictate what the market wants. You got to give the people what they want, or you can just be miserable and broke for the rest of your life. For the longest time, When I open a witch store, I'm trying to tell people, it's like, magical oils are not supposed to smell nice. They smell like dirt. We're soaking roots and shit in there. They smell like crap. They're supposed to smell like crap. They smell like crap when I grew up. But come the new age, people have confused magical oils and aromatherapy, and now we expect our magical oils to smell nice. Now, me saying that over and over and over and over and over and over again doesn't change the market. So I make these oils the same way we always did. They come out smelling like dirt, and then you put a couple drops of this and a couple drops of that of essential oil and make them smell pretty. So, traditional and smell pretty. Gots to give the people what they want. You can't explain to them what they should want. I despise the term baby witch. Penny witch is an apprentice witch. A witch is a witch, of course. No one can teach a witch, of course, unless you're the famous Unclebirch. Well, like I say, I could definitely teach you witchcraft. I cannot teach you to be a witch. Define witchcraft. Witchcraft is utilizing magic. Magic is causing change in the external world in accordance with will. Other than that, it's hard to narrow down witchcraft because it can be done with roots, rocks, sticks, bones, candles, ancestors, spirits, crystal balls, black mirrors, a glass of fucking water, a pinch of salt. So many ways to make things happen, you see. I suppose it depends on what roots you're using, because many roots are very aromatic. Yeah, but most of the roots that we're using are not. High John's not aromatic, Galang Gall's not aromatic, Low John, Middle John, and all the Johns, they smell like dirt. Yes. That's saying war water should smell like roses. Yeah, I do not scent the war water. No, that's war water should smell like rust, if rust, in fact, has a smell. Sung to the tune of Mr. Ed. Go right to the source and ask the horse. He'll give you the answer that you endorse. No, I do not worship Satan. I don't believe in the existence of an infernal being called Satan. The Satan that I think that exists is an egregore, an artificially created construct that is fed the guilt entity as a fuel for it to survive. So in that context, I believe that it exists, but as far as being a spiritual entity, a demonic entity, or the opposite, the adversary of God, no, I don't believe that. No, I don't need to calm down. Some people here need to Google. Yes. I've been in and out of the craft for 30 years, probably no more than I give myself credit for. Donna. Hey, Donna. Penny Witch gave me smiley, laughing, tear faces. What's the advantage of a familiar over servitors, or servitors over familiar? Okay, this one comes up all the time, so let me tell you, kids. Listen, all the kids in the back. A familiar is not your pet. Your cat is not your familiar. Your dog is not your familiar. Witches have historically made a bond with animals that is beyond the norm. The Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches, the medieval witch hunting manual, dictates that pretty specifically. It said that we speak in peaceful tones and have a special relationship with animals where we speak to them and treat them as equals. That has always been the case. However, in the burning times, they came up, there's two things that you definitely have to convict somebody of being a witch and then burn them at the stake or press them with rocks or whatever you had to do. The witch's mark, which can be anything. It can be a mole, it can be a scar, doesn't have a specific shape to it, can be anything that you say is a witch's mark. A witch has to have a familiar. And that could be your pigs, your cows, whatever animal a witch had was dictated their familiar in the trial transcripts through the times of the Inquisition. And we have all of those, and I've spent years studying all of the trial transcripts. A witch had to have a familiar. So I'm saying to you, Unclebirch right here, the idea that your animal, your pet, is a familiar is a creation of the Christian church in order to persecute us. Now, the creation of a familiar comes to us more through ceremonial magic. And the way that it is done in ceremonial magic, you capture a spirit in a triangle of arts and then torture it with various tools and barbaric names of God and these kinds of things. You torture the thing until it signs a pact to do your bidding. I don't think you want to do that to your cat, and if you did do that to your cat, you would deserve to have your pillow shat on. And you would for the rest of your fucking life. Now, the other thing with a familiar always wants to break out of its enslavement, and any chance it gets, it will consume your soul. Now, you don't want to piss your cat off that much, a cat will consume your soul. They totally are vengeful fucks. So that's not a familiar. Now, a servitor is an artificially created being. It is not a spirit. It is artificial. It has no purpose. It has no life beyond you. It is made as a servant, an artificial servant, a thought form, if you will, to serve you. It has no existence outside of itself, so there is no enslavement going on. So the advantages of the servitor are huge. Thank you. Familiars are slaves. Pets are friends. Yes, that's an easier way of saying it. IME, Hi John, smells smoky, almost like barbecue spices, Low John and Galangal, which is delicious ginger-like root spice. So I would say they're aromatic. It is, Galangal and Low John are from the ginger family, but I don't find them retaining their ginger smell too often. They smell like roots. I'm aware of the history of servitors and familiars, but it seems like there's a reason to make a familiar. You can just have a deep spiritual bond with your animals. That's all you got to do. You can, if you need to call it a familiar, you can, but it causes a lot of confusion to the kids out there. Hey, Rosie, who said, hey, Unclebirch over there. You have fire sign, Aquarius, no, Cancer, and about a Leo.
And well, you've got your moon is in Aries,
My moon's in Aries.
so you've got fire.
Yeah, I got some fire, baby. Ah, sun in the face. No, thank you. Some people need Google. Okay, you already said that. All right, well, hello, everybody. I'm going to come to you, Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans. I'm live on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. So I'll be going back and forth from the different screens. So you don't see the people from YouTube, so I read, what they're saying. I read what you're saying over here because YouTube people can't hear that. Marta, what's your big three?
My big three is Leo Sun. Is that what we're talking about?
I think.
Okay, Leo Sun, Gemini Moon, and Gemini Rising.
I mean, we could be talking about herbs or roots. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because over here they were asking about astrology stuff. And over here they were
Okay.
asking about roots. I was confused. I don't have any fire in my birth chart. Okay.
Yeah.
Servitors also need to be ended because existence is suffering for them. They could try to attack. That is the standard thought, but I've found my way around that. I have servitors that I've had for years. Part of what I've come up with is you need a way for them to eat, because otherwise you're gonna have to feed them every new moon. Like I have protection servitors, they're allowed to absorb 10% of the negativity from the attacks coming in and convert that into food for themselves. This actually keeps them more active because they're not only are they doing their job, but they're getting food out of it. So that keeps them busier, keeps them honest, I guess. I missed my moon sign. Missed the moon sign. It cut out. Oh, your moon sign? Gemini. Sun, Taurus, Moon, Gemini, Virgo rising. For Penny the Witch over here. I kept thinking there was a bug crawling up my screen. Thank you for the likes. Hit the screen twice to like it. If you're not following, please follow. I'm on my comeback. I lost my 65,000 follower account for multiple violations when the Christians teamed up to ban my account, and now I've got 3 other accounts. You can follow me on TikTok at Unclebirch2, Unclebirch3, Witch School, which is WITCHSKEWL. And if you like political rants and that kind of stuff, you can find me at Feel Free. Over here on YouTube, if you do the feel free thing, I think you find my music. I've posted a few of my old songs on YouTube. I think I posted them on TikTok, at least the ones that are under 3 minutes. All right, who's still here? I had Grammy Druid in here. I should have asked her to go live because she had me go live with her one time.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's still here. There's Nevermore Aries. Could invite her to go live too. Yeah, if any of you want to go live, let me know. I don't do enough of that. Oops, I forgot. I was mountain biking. It was mountain biking day. Yeah, get out there. Enjoy life. Like, wear a mask or something. Don't catch anything. Sounds like you really got to be careful. Aquarius Sun, Gemini Moon, Libra Rising. Yes. Shaman Dermoon. I'm gonna get your name right one of these times. Hey, how the hell are you? Connect over here. YouTube's having issues. Okay, YouTube's back. Talking about the Boleyn. Anything cutting, anything carving. If you're inscribing your candles, you'll be using the Boleyn for that. I tend to have a couple Boleens because the sickle-bladed knife is not always good for a lot of things that I need to do. Try and inscribe a candle with a sickle-bladed knife. It's kind of tricky. Just Moon is fine. I'm doing good. How are you? Okay, Moon. I'll just call you Moon. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm on YouTube and TikTok simultaneously right now, so I'm kind of going back and forth. Different crowds. More new witches over here, baby witches. Then on my YouTube channel, we get an assortment over here of people. My TikTok gets no love, but that's okay. It's totally random most of the time. A thing that I've been, it was freezing on YouTube. I saw that. A thing I'm learning is interacting with your audience. Liking all of the comments and responding to all of the comments boosts you. I have found, I started a political channel, the Feel Free 13 channel on TikTok, and part of the reason was I wanted to see if there was some sort of shadow ban on witch talk, witches of TikTok, that kind of thing. And also TikTok likes fights. So if you have political stuff, you get more fights and arguments and stuff like that. Basically, interaction. And I have found that the political channel is rising faster than the witchcraft channel. So there might be something to my theory. I'm going to go urinate. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, hopefully you enjoyed our tree. Let's see, what did I miss? I learned from Frater Xavier that servitors are like Rick and Morty's Mr. Meeks. If they cannot die, they may eventually turn on you. It's all about programming. You got to think of it like coding. If you code, a servitor is going to have any ability that you program into it, or if you give it a body that has particular abilities, like let's say a bird or something like that, it automatically has the ability to fly. So in the initial programming, you can set up everything it is. So you put certain safeguards into the original program of the servitor to stop that from happening. So every problem that I've ever found or hold back with the servitor, I've found a way to program around that and have that not be a problem. I was thinking about asking for a political rant. Well, you'd have to give me something to rant about. I can't just go off the top of my head. I have too much to say. I like your political channel. Hey, Nevermore Aries. It's my favorite channel, the Queen Pan 21. Yes, I've definitely seen you over there. So the question is, what's your take on witch hate? Well, I've done that a million times, man. I think that back in the day, when I was growing up, we had what we now know of as fake lore. We were taught, and we had songs about the 9 million women killed during the burning times. These kinds of beliefs kept us together. Having an external enemy that we recognize as our mutual enemy, we didn't have as many witch wars. They still happen, but not like it happens now when there's no enemy and we find the enemy within ourselves. Now, the Inquisition happened. All of that happened. The fake lore part was the math. And it wasn't 9 million. It was less than that, probably closer to 3 million. At any rate, just knowing that kind of kept us all together. We all had, I got to get a base for this umbrella. It just wants to blow around and make the sun hit me in the face. But having that belief that there was an external enemy out there that wanted to burn us at the stake, it helped. It kept us tighter. Now, they're still out there. Matter of fact, in this country, I don't know where you are, in this country after the last 4 years, the crazy Christians are more powerful than ever. And they've been able to get away with fucking crazy things. And as I've said, when they won the right to discriminate against a gay person in the workplace and take away women's reproductive rights in the insurance programs in the workplace, and then now you can even fire somebody for being gay. Once they got that right, now, the suppression of women thing, yeah, that's in their Bible. The anti-abortion thing is not in their Bible. There's actually, God tells you how to perform an abortion. The anti-gay thing, not in their Bible. A King James Bible? King James Bible, which is, extremely popular Bible amongst many Christian churches, it does still say thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. We can argue with them all day and explain to them that that's a mistranslation, but we are not far in this country from some crazy-ass motherfucking Christian saying it would be a violation of their strongly held religious beliefs for you to force them to suffer a witch to live. Because that's actually in the Bible. They got away with all of these things that they conjured up and said they were religious beliefs that actually aren't the religious beliefs, that actually aren't contained in their religion. And then one form of their religion has that thing right there about us, and it's still in their fucking book. So, witches hating witches, like I always say, there may be a time to do that. There may be a time you can do that, but I always try and, I think as I did on my political channel, I reminded people about my favorite movie. You find it over here on YouTube. It's called Land and Freedom, and it's extremely suppressed. You can't find it anywhere. You can't buy it on DVD. But you can find the full movie over here on YouTube. I think you have to watch it in like 15-minute bites, but you put it on auto, it just plays the goddamn movie. And the story is the Spanish Civil War, the Spanish Revolution, whatever you want to call it, depends on what side you're on. Anarchists and communists from all over the world traveled to Spain of their own accord to fight the fascists, because that's what anarchists and communists traditionally do. Anarchists and communists traditionally don't get along, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they went there without any organization. They got a minute amount of training once they arrived, and they fought side by side to fight the fascists. They were doing a good job. They made a lot of progress. And at a certain point, the communists pull a power grab on the anarchists. And then it all falls apart. And then we've got the communists, anarchists, and the communists, anarchists, and the fascists all shooting at each other. They're all, the trenches move, and eventually the whole thing falls apart. And then Spain is ruled by a fascist government for decade upon decade upon decade. I think they finally just got out of fascism, but I don't even know. We don't hear much about what goes over in Spain much at all. So the lesson there, kids, is had they beaten the fascists, then might have been the time to turn guns on each other. Like World War II, an uneasy peace between Russia and the United States existed because they had a mutual enemy. Once Russia drove the fucking Nazis back and the Americans came in this way and from France, everybody and the English and everybody drove them all the way back to Berlin. As soon as they get to Berlin and Hitler's pretty much defeated, then the infighting starts, and then is when we get the Berlin Wall and all that shit, and half the country's fucking divided. I'm not saying that's the right way to be, but if you are gonna pull that kind of shit, wait till victory has been achieved. Wait till we have beaten the church. Then maybe if we really need to, we could turn on each other. Okay, you wanted a political rant. Well, this political rant fit the context that we were in, so there you have it. If I'm not mistaken, those Christians willingly gave up their soul to their egregore. Jesus, doesn't that mean that they're being controlled? I would say that. But see, that's an unconsciously created servitor. That's what we're trying to do in magic. We're trying to take, because you can create thought forms accidentally all day long. The entire world is ruled by, like Satan. The entire world's run by thought forms, just artificially created accidentally. But servitor creation in magic is something we do on purpose. We're trying to control those parameters. Good crowds on both channels over here. Twish's Moonshot. Okay, you guys are talking back and forth. Oh, everybody making friends over here, singing Kumbaya. I had a good, last night, I ended up going back and forth with a hoodoo practitioner about that thing that we always go back and forth about, so whether or not hoodoo's a closed practice. And it was productive and respectful. And I think we reached some mutual ground. Now, over here, Moon over here, we had a thing a couple weeks ago. I was a little less respectful in the beginning. I changed over time, but we ended up on a respectful note. We get along well. Matter of fact, she just did a video last night telling one of her students they should join my class because I'll rip them a new asshole, I believe.
Yeah, I heard that one.
I've never had a better compliment. Thank you very much. So, and here we are. We got past that. And some of the people that were in that argument, at least one of the people in that argument, never got over her feelings and is still over there on her channel talking shit about me. And whenever she does it, somebody sends me the video. I'm not going to use another one of my alternate accounts to go over there and have her block that one too. But the main person I was arguing with in the first place, Moon over here, we got past it. We had a discussion. Sometimes, you have to butt heads a little bit in the beginning of a discussion, but you get fucking past it, man. What is Liz talking about over here? My mom told me to keep my mouth shut. She saw me being killed because what I am. She taught me to hide. I'm tired of hiding. Well, unfortunately, that is our lineage. That's the first thing that a witch must learn how to do is hide from the Christians, avoid the Christians. It's pretty rare that we can meet a Christian that we can actually talk to. It seems like, sometimes we can. Sometimes we can reach a mutual ground, but their fear of witches is kind of ingrained in them. And when something happens, something goes bump in the night, the crops don't grow, the milk curdles, your significant other runs off with somebody else, you get in a car accident, something like that, the witch is going to get blamed. You're going to get blamed every fucking time. When you're allegedly capable of making miracles happen, you're fodder for anything. And half of those things that I just mentioned were things that got people burned at the stake back in the day. Even to the point of your significant other running off with somebody else, that's called bewitching. And it was typically, back then, we didn't have our malleabilities. It was a war against women by a religion controlled by men. And if if a Christian woman's husband ran off with another woman, it was because she bewitched him. And many times there are many scenarios where that woman was put to death. I remember one particular, I think it was a novel. She was like, gang raped by all the men in the entire community and then put to death because they're such good Christians. Sorry for cheering you up. We just swim everyone's way. Um, I told a chaplain that cannibalism isn't illegal. You just in church stirring up shit, huh? Unclebirch, hoodoo, what did you come to terms with about it being a closed practice? If you go back, I pretty much did videos on her comments because I have too much to say to ever type that amount, and you have a character limit. But eventually reached the point where, she was saying that in some hoodoo groups, they have an initiation process. And so that group would be closed. I said, well, while I don't know of that existing, it does not speak for the whole of the tradition. Witchcraft is not a closed practice. However, there are witchcraft traditions that are closed, that do require initiation. Witchcraft in general does not require initiation. If you want to get in British traditional witchcraft or something like that, yeah, closed. They're not going to tell you any of their secrets, and you're going to have to get initiated to find any of them out. But that does not make witchcraft a closed practice. So that analogy seemed to kind of sneak out. We went back and forth for a while. It got a little tense for a minute there. So, but we worked it out. So it's like, all right, I can acknowledge that maybe you were in a group that had an initiation, but hoodoo in general is not an initiatory practice, not a closed practice. One group does not change the entirety of a tradition. And so we, reached common ground on that until the next time I have that same goddamn argument with somebody on TikTok. Now, over here, that's never come up. That's never come up over here on YouTube. This hoodoo being a closed practice is something that seems to solely exist on TikTok, but it is leaking out into other forms. People are repeating what they heard on TikTok in other social medias and screwing it all up, but it is something that only existed on TikTok and was one of the dumbest things I'd ever seen. But I came to TikTok to see the person that hexed the Fae and the Moon, which is the dumbest thing I ever heard. So I guess it's par for the fucking course, but that just doesn't come up anywhere else. And now I'm in New Orleans. Cultural appropriation just is not a thing. I've heard the words 2 times in New Orleans, and they came out of my mouth, and the person on the receiving end looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language all of those times. Here in New Orleans, everything has happily bled over into everything else. I mean, we have our traditional voodoo, but then we got the New Orleans voodoo, and the New Orleans voodoo is incorporating all kinds of other stuff. It's got some hoodoo in there and everything else. Alexandria is a closed practice. I don't know. The library, now here's the problem. See, I don't know if you're even joking or not, but the Library of Alexandria contained all of the knowledge of the known world. It's where the Romans kept all of their records, and the fire at the Library of Alexandria is said to be what brought about the Dark Ages, because all of human knowledge was lost in one fire. Now, if you want to have a closed practice, now I'm a Polero in Palo. I'm a Tata, a priest. You won't hear me talk about that much because it's a very closed, very secretive practice. You're not allowed to write books. 2 books on Palo that are acceptable by the Palo community, and none of those books tell you how to do Palo. They're not a how-to book at all. Now, if you want to have a closed practice, well, what you need to do is you got to go all the way back to the early 80s and stop Herman Slater from writing his book. Because the first recipe book available to the magical, Wiccan, and witchcraft communities and all of the communities was hoodoo. Some argue with Herman Slater's recipes, but I've seen Herman Slater's recipes side by side with reputable hoodoo people out there. And even one of the people, Cat Ironwood of Lucky Mojo, talked a lot of crap about Herman Slater. But if you put his recipe and her recipe side by side, they vary on maybe one ingredient in the recipes. And I did that. I put them side by side because I'm like, wow, this seems like something I grew up on. So the first recipe book available to the general occult were hoodoo recipes. So if you want to close practice, you've got to go back in time and stop him from writing his book. And then while you're at it, since you're already back in time, keep going through the time and stop all of the people writing books on hoodoo. One of our best friends here, Hoodoo Samois, got an excellent book on fucking conjure. It was a closed practice. Typically, you're not supposed to write a fucking book, right? You don't hear a lot of how-to voodoo books, do you?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's also a voodoo priest, and he's not gonna write a book about that.
There's Carlos. What's the charlatan that wrote all those books? But Santeria, called Paulo, Santeria's evil cousin.
What's his name?
I can't even remember his fucking name. I want to say Carlos Castaneda, but that ain't it.
No, it starts with an M.
It was Ray Marlborough. That's a good book. That's
Ray
hoodoo
Marlborough.
too. That's
no,
good.
The guy's last name starts with an M, I think.
Yeah, there's like one guy that wrote like how-to books about Santeria and stuff like that, and nobody respects him, and everybody calls his work absolute shit.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, I think it was.
It's on the tip
Paulo
of my...
Mayombe, The Dark Side of Santeria. Yeah. That's the book. Everybody's out there Googling right now.
Yeah, I'll recognize the name when I see it.
Ooh, somebody's studious, of course, because you're on my channel. Herman just published the formulary. It was actually written by Clinton Stephan, who, when he wrote the recipes, either left out an ingredient or added a fake ingredient. That was a common thing. Loopholes was a common thing in magic. And yeah, and every time I read one of those recipes, I always added something to it, just based on the witchcraft that I knew. And, later you go back and study it and find out that's, yeah, Carlos Castaneda was freaking brilliant. Yeah, I know, that wasn't him.
No, I'm not Castaneda.
All this talk makes me want to watch The Skeleton Key. Ooh, that's a good one too.
I'll find it.
Yeah. Clinton didn't work for Herman that long. Yeah, because there was a magical formulary, and then shortly thereafter was the magical formulary spell book. But if you go, if you Google Unclebirch, you find my Amazon influencer list, where I started that with a recommended reading list. And then I went into products, tools, all kinds of stuff that I found. Because I've been in the business so long, I know the reputable dealers from the non-reputable dealers. And so I started making lists of them up there. And the beginning of the reading list is several books by a woman named Jade. This is a woman that I call my witch mother, Judith Dufresne. She raised me in witchcraft, and probably, my mom paid the bills. She worked like 3 jobs, but my actual upbringing was coming more from my witch mother. I give my mom full credit for everything that she did, but, I was, by 13 years old, all that mattered was witchcraft. And that was my mom over there. Well, she wrote books. And if you go there, like probably the first one on the list, Protection Spells and Charms by Jade, is absolutely epic. You can find the origins of my transformation magic ideas for protection magic.
Wait, was it Montenegro?
That might be it, Montenegro.
I knew it started with an M.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking it up, but I think it was Montenegro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos Montenegro.
Carlos Montenegro. Okay.
Yeah.
Where the fuck am I now?
Oh, sorry.
Protection Spells and Charms by Jade. It's a really cheap book. It's like $9 or something. It's small, but the level of witchcraft that you get in her books, you will not see on this plane ever since then. Nobody fucking writes books that fucking good. But what you might notice if you're studious, what she's teaching is a hybrid hoodoo. It's got all the principles of hoodoo, but it's also incorporating lunar time, planetary time, ceremonial concepts, which hoodoo also does tend to absorb some things from, like the Keys of Solomon, which is the origins of a lot of our ceremonial magic. So in reality, I was being brought up in a hybrid hoodoo. Um, and witchcraft on top of it. So I was practicing witchcraft, hoodoo side by side without knowing the difference, because the majority of the things that those roots and things are used for in hoodoo is the same thing that they're used for in witchcraft, because plants tend to have a nature. Just got protection spells and charms. Right on. So if you look at, it's like how to turn a bad situation into good or something like that. There's a little triangle sigil. That's the origins of the transformation magic. I just elaborated on it. And she had a very larger version of that. Like if you go to my gumroad.com/witch school, WITCHSKEWL, spiritual warfare feeding on your enemies is the large version of the ritual that she taught me for making the transformation magics happen. That sounds like Appalachian folk. Well, that's kind of the thing, is my parent tradition's roots are in the Appalachians to this day. And there's the Druidic craft of the wise is in the Appalachians and on the West Coast, mostly. Those are the two main factions. The Appalachians disavow the West Coast, and the West Coast disavows the Appalachians. But I have studied both systems. I went and studied the Appalachian system under an assumed name, so they didn't know who I was, and I found out it was the exact same material, the exact same mythos. These people say that those people don't have the real secrets, and vice versa. They both say that shit about each other, and I'm here to tell you from my covert studying of both sides of the system, it's the same fucking system. So being an Appalachian system with a Cherokee as the high priestess of that tradition to this day, she's got to be really fucking old, in her 90s by now. It has a lot of hoodoo and stuff in it. Back to Baptist and Methodist, kind of, yes. Red brick dust on the floor. Where'd you get that necklace? It's so pretty. This one, that's a Chimaruta. Used to have them cast, this is from a woman's family, Chimaruta, Italian witchcraft symbol. She used to cast them for me, but she doesn't want to do wholesale anymore. So these may be the last ones we ever get from her, and they are probably the coolest Chimarutas out there. Chimaruta is an Italian word that basically means sprig of rue. The plant part is the rue plant. East is west, west and west is west, and neither the twain shall meet. Yes, yes, yes. Isn't that coral? I don't have any coral. Marta has a piece of red coral in her Chimaruta, though. But you can't see that, so you're probably not talking about it. All right, bringing the umbrella around again. Skincare witch. How you doing? Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans. We're doing the Ask Unclebirch thing on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. So if you miss anything in the TikTok, you want to hear it later, go over to YouTube. It'll be saved there forever. TikTok, I press the button and it goes poof, like it never happened. And again, just Google me, Google Unclebirch, you'll find my YouTube channel. Or actually on this page, you just hit the play button under my profile and take you right there. New here, what do I practice? Witchcraft, hoodoo, palo mayombe, chaos magic, with a sprinkling of chaos magic on top of it.
Sex magic.
Sex magic, in all of those, sex magic, absolutely. Okay, reading, going back and forth to the different screens. Have you done ceremonial magic? If so, what was it like? Yeah, back in the day, we witches borrowed a lot from ceremonial magic. Even if you've studied Gardnerian witchcraft or British traditional witchcraft, and you see them tracing a pentagram in the air. Anytime you see that, they borrowed that from ceremonial magic. It was pretty common for witches to borrow the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram from the ceremonialists for the construction of the ritual circle. At least from the 60s through all the way through the 90s, it's still what I teach my kids for their first circle. So, because I'm figuring they're going to change things and elaborate things, so I want to give them the oldest version of the circle that I can to start with. Okay, I'm just looking back and forth, making sure I don't miss anything. Brian Kane has an amazing book on it's an initiatory witchcraft.
I edited that.
Marta edited that book.
Just 2 chapters.
Well, 2 chapters. If there was 2 chapters of that book that you liked better than the rest of the book, those were probably the chapters that Marta edited. Those are Christian and Brian. They're good friends of ours. They live pretty close to us. Phil Hine. Wait. Yes, I've mentioned before. Yes, Phil Hine. If you want to study chaos magic, Phil Hine is the best one to study. He's the easiest one to read because it's a very heady subject. And all of the stuff that went into his couple publications that he did, everything's available on PDF to this day on the internet. So all of his stuff's available free. If you just search Phil Hine chaos magic, you'll find it. Somebody's like burning pine needles. Yes, you can use it in Obsidian Wand. What's my knowledge on Santa Muerte? I have a video over here you can watch called Santa Muerte Moves North. It's pretty old, but once upon a time, somebody came into my shop when I wasn't there and was talking to one of my workers. She had rescued a bunch of Santa Muerte statues from some of these roadside temples in Mexico that were closing down, and asked if we would house them and give them a place for veneration. My shop was more of a temple than a retail space. I didn't embrace capitalism for, unfortunately, a very long time. I said, sure, we'll make another altar for her, and people can come, do that. There's an altar in every fucking corner for something in the goddamn shop. And so I said okay, and then this woman arrived and started getting the statues out of her car, and I've often described it as a clown car of death. They just kept coming, and they kept getting larger, and I think the largest one was about 6 feet tall. So I had to construct a 3-level shrine area that took up, I had a bookcase that's about 20 feet long and about 9 feet high. I just moved all my books to the sides and kind of packed them in, and center of the bookcase became Santa Muerte's spot. And then I studied, I learned about her, I learned what offerings to give her, so I knew what things that I put on the altar, like I put copal, some charcoal so people could burn incense to her, cut out little papers and left pens there so people could write petitions to her, and immediately, like the first day, her devotees started showing up, and they would come in all the time. Oh, and just happened to be talking about this while Hoodoo Brujo's here. I didn't want you to go live, but you're probably at work. But yep, talking about your mama. So like I say, Santa Muerte just kind of burst into my life and demanded recognition. But I'd said that I didn't know who she was, and I invited her in, and I said, yeah, I'll give her a space, because like they have these little roadside temples all over Mexico, and they're not technically legal. And so the authorities were tearing down several of these temples, and this woman like rescued all the statues from these temples. I'm going, God, so you're asking me to like give a home to a homeless goddess? What am I going to say no? And I look at her and go, right away, she's badass. I got to like that motif, sure. So I learned everything I could before she got there, so I could have everything on her altar that she'd need. Also tequila. I had some tequila there because people like to spray on her. I knew they wanted to spray alcohol, so I'm assuming, all right, when she's coming from Mexico, it's probably tequila. You pick the alcohol from that geographical region. That's usually the way. And then put some cigars on the altar, that kind of thing. People would blow smoke, cigars, burn incense in my shop. It was more of a temple than a witch store for a very long time. And then eventually, when I closed my witch store, I found all of these devotees that kept coming to the shop. I gifted them one by one Santa Muerte statues if they would promise to give her a home, a place of prominence in their home, and each one of them agreed, and I whittled it down, even like the 6-foot one, you know, but I didn't have room for it, so I you know, came to recognize after a time that Santa Muerte is kind of color-coded. The color of the Santa Muerte statue kind of adheres to some of the things she does. And one of the things about her, she does way more things than your average pagan goddess. You know, they usually do 1 or 2 things. Santa Muerte's got a huge scope of influence. I kept the rainbow one. So she's by my front door. You know, she's got her own pedestal, and then down below her is where my luceros are, because luceros like to be on the floor. That's a Paulo Meombe thing. So that's how I met her. And literally the first fucking day, and I'm Googling everything I'm learning. I've got a Santa Muerte devotee that I'm talking her fucking ear off, learning everything I can about this goddess that I invited into my fucking life. And first day, this dude come through my fucking store on his fucking elbows, doing a belly crawl across the store. He left a clean spot across the floor. I hadn't mopped in a while, I guess, but you can see the trail.
If we kept, in hindsight,
Yeah.
kept all that stuff
Yeah.
and put it in the loft upstairs.
If we'd have known that we were going to end up with
Yeah, I know.
such a big house, I would have kept all those statues, but I'm glad they you know, found homes. But literally, and then later, years later, you know, Breaking Bad comes out, and they have a scene on one of those roadside shrines in Mexico, and there's literally the devotees are crawling through the dirt on their way there, including the 2 hitmen dudes who are in really fine, nice Italian suits, crawling in the dirt on their elbows all the way there. So I'd never actually seen that depicted, except the one that I saw depicted in real life.
Don't they do that in Breaking Bad?
That's what I was,
Oh,
did I
that's
say
what you're talking
Breaking Bad?
about? Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
hear
yeah.
the first part of what you said.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who just want to be devotees because she sounds cool. Yep, absolutely. But you know, I was acting. You know, I've done that many times in my life. Like the story I told you earlier about the first black guy I met was a Crip, and he became a really good friend. I sometimes stumble through the world with absolute naivete. Have you seen The Fool tarot card? That's the Fool. The Fool just kind of stumbles out in the world and ends up in vast spiritual experiences based on his naivete. So this was one of those things. Good to see Huda Brujo here. You're probably on your break or something, right? I'm pretty sure you work on Monday. But yeah, so you know, if you go over here on YouTube, I have a video called Santa Muerte Moves North, where I tell that story, and I'm pretty sure I showed the shrine. I'm pretty sure I showed the shrine on that video. So it's pretty old. That was that was before I moved my shop a couple times. So that was like the main spot that my shop was in. But definitely got to know her. Kind of a crash course, if you will. But you know, I did not fathom this woman showing up with like 15 statues, and one
I
being
wish
like,
we had 'em now.
yeah, and one being like 6 feet
We
tall.
could deck out that loft room.
But I learned enough about Santa Muerte not to go back on my previous agreement. Not that I really would have gone back on it. It was just, you know, I've lived a huge portion of my life based on a philosophy that I created. 3 paths in the woods met, and I took the path that would make the better story. That's made all the difference. And many times in my life, I just like, that path looks scary. I'm gonna go that way. Like, this path looks really, you know, nice and fluffy, and there's a rainbow at the end of it. I'm gonna take that dark one over there. That one's gonna have better stories to tell for the rest of my life. And here I am, still telling these stories. This is why a lot of you people listen to me and shit. Hate when witches jump onto a deity practice just because it's trendy. Yeah. Well, you can see why a lot of kids would adopt that, you know, the Grim Reaper looking thing, you know. They don't know. I'm shocked that Hoodoo Brujo hasn't heard that story. I figured every time I told that story and Hoodoo Brujo didn't comment, it's just because he was mad at me or talking about his girl or something like that. No, not really. But like Palo Mayombe, that was something Marta was interested in. I never heard of a fucking palo. You know, it means stick in Spanish. That's all it means. Um, I went with her. She was interested in getting involved with this house. I went with her and I saw this thing happen that even though the terminology is not right and people wouldn't like it, it is actually the terminology and it is the proper terminology. It's the most pagan thing I've ever seen. It was down in the dirt and the mud and the blood, and that's true paganism, man. Paganism doesn't need a fucking altar. It needs
You
dirt.
don't need a $300 athame.
You don't need a $300 athame. You need a stick which I found on the fucking ground. You want me to show you that God exists? Here you go. There's God. Right there. I can prove it all fucking day, every day. Here's fucking God, man. I still use the word pagan because it speaks to who I am. I speak more about the laws of nature than I do the workings of gods and goddesses. Drain DJs asked about the type of signs that you're being hexed or worked on. You should go over to my YouTube later and watch How to Break a Curse. There's at least 3 different versions of that because it's so important. If you came to me, first thing I'm going to say is, how you sleeping? And then you're going to tell me, well, not that good. And go, okay. Red light. When you find yourself having a difficult time sleeping, what time of night would you say it is? And let's just say that they're cursed. So they're going to say, oh, like 3, 4 in the morning. Red light number 2. What is your impulse upon waking in that state? If I hear anything that sounds like fight or flight, you wake up agitated, wanting to fight, or you wake up wanting to run, or you wake up wanting to run across the room and turn on the light. If you want to run across the room and turn on the light, all my red flags have now gone off. Now, these are just some of the signs. There are other signs, like bad luck that lasts over a year. That's not natural. Everything here is a cycle and cycles upon cycles. This is why the wheel of the year in Wicca is expressed as a circle, because nature does everything in a circle. Our lives are a circle. This is how we view reincarnation. Death is a doorway to the next world. It is just a circle that's continually going around and around and around and around. So you should have in life up times and down times. But if you find yourself in a downtime and it's been like, even like 6 months, not that natural. There should be a shift at some point, unless you're doing something to continually fuck up your life. But if you found yourself in just like a bad, shitty luck situation for like a year, I'm like pulling some cards. We're gonna have to look at that a little more closely because that's not natural. A hex is an unnaturally imposed entity on your life. You should have good times and you should have bad times. But if you have bad times for too long, there might be something to look at. Either there's something you're doing wrong to fuck up your life, or somebody else out there might be fucking up your life. Now, even if it's you cursing yourself by believing you have a curse on yourself, the remedy's the same. Your subconscious mind needs to see you do the magic to release that. So, and there's never been a time in my life and all of my professional witchery where somebody has walked into my shop thinking they were under a curse where I ever was able to convince them that they were not. Once people have that idea or even think that that might have happened, you're never going to talk them out of that belief. So they're going to need to go do the ritual that I prescribed to them. Okay, I got to switch chargers. Hold on. Got 2 phones here. The other phone's a little older, so the battery's not lasting as long. But I am coming to you live on YouTube. Here, I'll put you side by side for a minute. On YouTube and TikTok simultaneously, and I'm doing it low tech. I'm doing it with 2 phones and 2 screens because I have not found a software that I like that does multi-broadcasting yet. God damn, why is this glare on me? Bad times means it's time to play. Without banishing or break the curse, can you use your transformation sigil to feed off the... Absolutely. Absolutely. I haven't broken a thing like that in a very long time since I learned to feed on it. It's like, send it to me. If you ever go over here to YouTube, I have a video from, I guess it's 5 years ago or so, or 4 years ago or so. It was during Trump, of course. I made a video called Real Witches Don't Vote Republican, knowing that they were out there and I was going to catch a whole bunch of shit. But at that particular time, I had some bills needed to be paid and the finances were a little light and I needed a large burst of cash in my life. So I threw up that transformation protection shield thing that I teach and then did a thing on the internet to make a lot of people hate on me. Now I can convert the attention of the people that like me too. It's like all of the attention that's coming from that, I'm converting into that energy. But hate has a particular potency that love does not have. You really like everybody's cool uncle telling stories. Thank you. Hey, M Norman says, hello there, Birch and Marta. Been a while. Yes, it has been a while.
Hey, yeah.
Don't think I saw you. I did not see you at Hexfest last year. Hopefully I see you this year.
Yeah.
Uncle Birch will be teaching at Hexfest in August here in New Orleans, and they have talked me into teaching 3 classes. Typically I only have to teach 1 class because I'm a local, but this year I've been volunteered to teach more. Watchers leave when they're bored, but elementals can tell you, yes, the Watchers come when you call. They have a pact that we don't even realize exists anymore, but they have a pact with our kind. They come when they're called, but they can leave when they're bored. You are everyone's favorite uncle. Oh, come on, you guys are gonna make me blush. Thoughts on the bald dude getting his channel taken down? I've never been a fan of his. If you happen to be going around like AMC, I think it's on demand on AMC right now, but I'm in Cursed Films episode 3. And I happen to be on the same episode that he's in. So that's probably the most that I've seen his work, you know, because I was watching myself on fucking TV. I'm not going to fucking, say I wasn't, up in my ego and shit. That's probably the most familiar I was with his work. I kind of liked his presentation in the thing, but the fact that he decided to perform a death ritual on camera seemed a little over the top. I'm like sitting in my living room talking about curses and shit, and he's out in the fucking desert doing a death ritual on camera. But I did kind of like him in that, but I've never really been a fan of his work. However, the shit that he's being blamed for and getting his channel taken down is way over the fucking top. It's like, so I'm supposed to be responsible for everybody that ever watched me on the internet in whatever twisted way they took what I had to say to do something twisted in the fucking world. Well, shit, I'm screwed, man. I've been on the internet for fucking decades now. Yes, you finally caught me, which gaming magic. Hello. I've been going live pretty often because I got a short amount of time. My next class, my next year in today course is starting at gumroad.com/witchschool, WITCHSKEWL, January 1st. So it's coming up. I accept signups all through the month of January, but it is coming January 1st. So if you're interested in that, you got to get over to gumroad.com/witchschool, WITCHSKEWL. It's right under my profile over here on TikTok. Set up an account, follow me, and then January 1st, whenever I get home from doing whatever we're doing, I will launch the class and then send out a notification to everybody that's following. Or you can just, keep hitting refresh until you see that class appear. You will see several level 1 year in a day courses, but they all have dates on them. So you don't want to sign up for the wrong one. It should say level 1, January 2022, in probably Witch School. It will appear. For doing money spell on lottery scratchers, should you be specific about the amount? I'd say no. You want to be somewhat specific, but not too specific. You can like limit nature's ability to pull that off. But yeah, so somebody over here had been paying some attention. I recommend to witches that if you want to play lottery magic, I've only known one witch to win the lottery off of a spell, and nobody's heard from him since. He was going to open like a Hogwarts or something, disappeared, probably like bought himself an island or something like that. You're better off getting the scratchers. The main lottery has the resistance of every other person that you're competing with to win the lottery. Magic follows the path of least resistance. There is no resistance to you winning on a scratcher. You don't have a competitor out there whose energy is going to fuck with yours on a scratcher. So unless you want to whip up some serious juju, the likelihood of winning the main lottery with magic is not too high, or I would have done it and probably wouldn't be sitting around talking to you people. I don't know if they'd have internet on my private island. Yeah, I'd have satellite internet. Shit. I would have, the first thing I would have done was bought Somers Isle, Scotland, where the Wicker Man was filmed. It was only 2 million last I saw. But I digress. Let's see, YouTube, I have to hit the thing every so often. A while back, made use of my followers' attention on Facebook, reacted to my profile picture with a sigil, and it works so well. Yeah, I've seen several people making that sigil. I think you're talking about like there's the money magic signal or sigil over here on YouTube, which is on the video to hide a sigil in plain sight. I've seen several people make that their profile picture on Facebook for a time and make things happen. Universe will give you what you ask for, but just be prepared that you can handle it. Well, that's why if you go over there to hide a sigil in plain sight on YouTube and look at the sigil that we crafted for that, it's a sigil that's meant to be in public space and derive energy from everybody that gives it attention and everybody that uses it for magic. It's been floating around on the internet for at least a decade. It was back when Myrrh was like a student, I think it was her class. What? The money magnet sigil.
The one with the happy face?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't my class. That was a couple of years
okay.
after that. We
so
went out to the brewery.
Everybody that was present for that added to the sigil. They created a piece of the sigil, and if you look down at the bottom of that sigil, there's a little happy face. That was Marta's edition. So it's like happy money, money that should make us happy and come, in a happy way. Somebody doesn't have to die to give us the money, that kind of thing. Yeah, have a little component like that in there. Catch-all, fine print, that kind of thing. We're not expecting any deliveries, are we? Any ideas for breaking a generational curse? Again, if you Google Unclebirch, you find my Amazon influencer page. And one of the first books on my reading list is Protection Spells and Charms by Jade. There is a spell for that. Off of the top of my head, you take a black skull candle, you inscribe it with your intent, you burn the black skull candle till the head is hollowed out. You fill that with wormwood, rue, and I think it was basil, and then drip red wax over the top of that until it's sealed back up, and then bury it in a graveyard. Check my figures, whoever has that book, but I'm pretty sure there's some shit I just never fucking forget. No, Marta doesn't teach that anymore. She just sits here and listens to me yap. I got spanked by the universe when I tried to use a pendulum to pull Powerball numbers. Didn't listen to my guides. By 1 a.m., my bank account was hacked into. Yes, always do like some cleansing and protection magic with your magic to keep stuff from that happening. But yeah, at least it's a learning experience, right? You learned something, right? That's all you can do. So keep notes, write that down in your notes. What did I learn? I have a black skull candle. Oh, well, perfect. There you go. Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans. I am on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously, so you'll see me going back and forth. Spanked by the universe. Okay, I haven't missed anything over there. cloaking is part of glamour magic. I've used that pretty often, you know, to avoid cops and stuff like that. Okay, y'all, somebody was asking for like political stories, that kind of thing. I got one for you. So, back at the beginning of the Kosovo War, I was back at the shack doing communications. I was communicating with some of the activists on walkie-talkies and monitoring the police. And all my friends were at the Kosovo War protest. And there's a certain cop, Sergeant Haley was his name. He was part of the NET team, which is like an undercover team. And he had a habit of being like in bushes, disguised as a bush. He'd be under a car in somebody's driveway. He would always be disguised as something else, monitoring the situation and giving orders. And I hear the guy say, arrest them all if they don't move. So I said, oh shit. Try to get somebody on the radio. Nobody's answering the radio. So I book over there on my bike. It's about like 5 minutes away. And I come rolling up, and there's signs and banners everywhere, and there's this paddy wagon, and people are behind it, people are in front of it, people are rocking the paddy wagon. So, you know, I've been an activist a long time. I know what my job is now. I throw my bike on the fucking ground, I grab me a sign, and I get in front of the fucking paddy wagon. And I start asking the people in front of the paddy wagon, and say, hey, why the fuck are we in front of this paddy wagon? And they said, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so are in the paddy wagon. They've been arrested, and we're not going to let them take them. I said, all right, I know them. I'm not going to let them take them. Fine, we'll stand here. I always held my my sign like a rifle. That was just kind of my thing. So we're there blocking the paddy wagon. And I'm a father. I've got my daughter's like 2. I think she's about 2, maybe 3 years old, something like that. And some fathers have a stronger parental instinct than other fathers, and I apparently was one of those. I hear this little girl, about my daughter's age, screaming, Mommy, Mommy, don't let him take me. Mommy, Mommy, don't let him take me. I look down the paddy wagon, and there's this woman clutching her kid in her arms, while these cops are trying to rip the kid out of her arms so they could arrest her. And I had been through every possible non-violence training that an activist could have. I was a former police officer. I knew better than to put my hands on a cop. Now, so next thing you know, I'm at the back of the paddy wagon with my hands all over cops. I'm an extremely public figure in this town with regard to activism. I started the longest running pirate radio station in the country in this town. I'm a very public person. Nobody's figured out my name yet. They still think I'm called Phil Free at this point. And I'm wrestling with cops, and all these cops know me, and they've been waiting for the chance to bust my ass. I'm fucking up my whole life right now, and I can't stop because that parental instinct is making me want to save this child from the big burly police. Now, you can still see this episode on some old cop shows of this incident in Santa Cruz, California, because this guy that I knew that once ran for city council named Steve Argue comes up and punches one of the cops in the face, breaks his nose, blood everywhere, and runs away. All of the cops chase him, leaving little Officer Tripp, who I have known since he was a public service officer. I wished him well when he went to the academy. He knows me, I know him. He's left holding the bag, or the woman and her kid. I got my hands all over him. I'm wrestling with him. And next thing you know, I'm wrestling out into the middle of the street with this fucking cop. Telling myself in the back of my head, Phil, stop it. What are you doing? Get your hands off that cop. They're gonna finally fucking bust you. It's gonna be the fucking Christmas for these fucking cops. They could never get me on anything. And as I'm wrestling in the street, remember back at the beginning, old Officer Haley who said, arrest them all if they don't move? I know he's right there on that fucking building with the camera fucking rolling, and I have just strolled into the frame. I'm right in the fucking center. Everybody can see what's going on. This cop who knew me looks me in the eyes, and I'm like on his nightclub going like this, and he looks me in the eyes and goes, Phil, let go or you're going to jail, man. At At that point, I threw the hardest fucking glamour I could. I had eye contact, and that's what you need for a fucking glamour. And I hurled this thing down this fucking guy's fucking, forget me, motherfucker, forget me. And I later saw it on film. It was actually pretty fucking dramatic. He stumbles back like somebody punched him, and then goes this way and grabs this other kid who really wasn't doing a whole lot except, hey, you let her go. He was like standing there yelling at the cop. He grabs that kid and starts wrestling with that kid, and I'm standing here with the mom and her kid. You go, come with me. I took him. There was this long corridor through a place in Santa Cruz called the Coffee Roasting Company, where if you took that corridor all the way down, you ended up on Pacific Avenue, which was the most busy street in Santa Cruz, and it was like a weekend, so everybody was out, and just, go, get lost in the crowd, get lost in the crowd. And she got lost in the fucking crowd. The trial goes on for weeks. Two people, well, the guy that punched the cop, he's on trial, and the kid that the cop went and wrestled after I threw the glamour down his face, he's on trial. And I'm sitting in city council meetings, I'm sitting in the back of the courtroom in disguise, watching myself on camera in the center of the fucking screen with my hands all over the cops. I have my wobbly hat on, I have pretty much my uniform. I always look like I'm a very public activist in this fucking town. And every cop, every DA that always wanted to get me should have seen me in the center of that fucking screen. I'm just sitting back there going, oh God, I'm fucked. Oh, I am fucked. Look at me. I am screwing up here. That glamour worked so well. The court didn't see it. City council didn't see it. Nobody saw it. Trial went on for weeks. For this kid, I kind of felt bad about it. It's like, this is a college kid. He'll get off on a fucking misdemeanor. He'll be fine. It'd be better for me not to get busted for this. So late in the thing, I get a call from the kid's lawyer. He goes, oh, so you're Phil Free, yeah? Yeah, hey, how you doing? He says, so, I've been reviewing the footage, you know my client's involved in this case with the Kosovo War thing. I go, yeah, I've been following the case. He goes, so, after reviewing the footage, it's kind of come to the impression that everything that my client's accused of doing, you actually did that. And he didn't do those things. And you're on camera doing those things. I don't understand why nobody sees that, but, I saw it, and I go, yeah, it's true. It's true. And he goes, so look, I'm not your lawyer. I suggest you should get a lawyer. I cannot counsel you, but it would be the stand-up and right thing to do for you to turn yourself in. I said, yeah, it's a fair cop. Yeah, you're right. That's what I should do. All right, I will do that. I'll do that. Monday morning. It's like Friday or something like that. Monday, as I'm getting ready to go do that, this kid decides to take a plea bargain. I just pled out. He pleaded guilty, and then out. So I was going to do the right thing. I never had to do the right thing. So that whole story is the power of a glamour. And somebody over here wanted a political story. So see how I tied them all together? I mean, most of my activist friends, they knew I was a witch, but they never really gave it much thought. Thank you. This is a cool Crass shirt. It's just unfortunate that Crass made no money off the shirt because Crass has never had any merch. So I'm sure somebody pirated this fucking Crass shirt, but I could not have a Crass cross.
Yeah.
I figured I bought so many of their albums over the years, I made up for it. I really gotta look more into that. It's so crazy, okay? All right, you guys like this story? So yeah, Unclebirch, the storyteller. I tell a story, and somewhere in the story, you're learning shit. You didn't even know it. You just learned how to cast a glamour. Usually I don't explain the thing that you just learned to let it sink in, but... Crass. Well, in the story that I just told you, my name as an activist, my stage name, was Phil Free. And this guy over here, if you know what a Crass shirt is, well, you probably know who Phil Free is, right? That clearly wasn't my name. I clearly got that name from one of the singers of Crass. It was Phil Free, Evil Libertine, Steve Ignorant, somebody else. Those are some of the main players in Crass. So I I borrowed that name from an anarchist punk singer that I had grown up with, because I respected his work and figured most people over here wouldn't know who Phil Free was anyway. That's everything. Retracted your message. Ooh, now I really want to know what you said. Unclebirch coming to you live on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, talking about whatever the fuck people get me to talk about. Ridiculous power, glamour. How'd you pull it off? Desperation. I just, my witchcraft mind kicked in. He locked eyes with me, and that's all I needed for the glamour was eye contact. And I knew I was screwing up my entire fucking life right then. I knew better than to put my hands on a cop, especially when I'm on camera. And I was definitely on camera. Are they on YouTube? I think so. I think I found Crass on YouTube. For Phil Free, I thought that was what you were going for. Yeah, that was it. Marta got it right away when we met. Still, her family still pretty often calls me Phil. For the longest time,
Yeah.
everybody thought my name was Phil. Making an incense is making them to the planet days, add more to them. Yes. Yes, these kind of things aren't recognized in hoodoo, but maybe they should. It would be more potent because we are on Earth. Earth has high points, low points, power points when things happen. The moon affects these things too. The power points of the Earth, the movement of the planets, all of these things affect us in this sphere. And some forms of magic recognize that and work with those things, and some forms don't. But it's kind of a universal. Those energies absolutely exist. Those power points absolutely happen. And doing magic, adhering to those times, any type of magic would be more potent, recognizing those. But I'm not going to tell the hoodoo people how to do it. I was late to the stream. What's your magical practice like these days? My magical practice like these days is the empty-handed gesture. I rarely use tools. I rarely use incense, oils, brews. Intent is not all that matters, but if you practice long enough, kind of can be. It's not whatever you feel. However, after about 40 plus years, when I go to whip up a recipe, I'm not looking at the recipe book. I just, whatever I feel like, and I just so happen to have attuned my feelings to the witchcraft so much. And then
you just can't do that in the beginning.
Yeah, you can't do that in the beginning. But then, and sometimes I'll go look it up and go, why the fuck did you put that in there? And I'll go look it up and say, oh, that's absolutely what you should have put in there. Why am I second guessing myself?
Yeah, stop it.
What calendar do you go by for those times? I still follow the classical wheel of the year. You can find a lot of correspondence connections in Brian Kane's book. Yes, I mean, that was typically what you started your Book of Shadows with. My Book of Shadows, the first few pages are all of the planetary timetables, the planetary times and the days of the week, the moon phases, and then a list of, God names and spirit names and that kind of stuff. So it was some of the first stuff you'd write down. So I did, don't tell my friend Brian, but I haven't read his book. I read, what Marta was editing. She edited portions of his book, so I read that, and I liked what I read there. And she had to print it out, so there was copies of it floating around the house for a while. So I got to, I got to pick through some of that stuff. So I did like those parts of, what I read of his book. And and don't tell my other, his husband Christian, I haven't read his book either. I've sold hundreds of them.
I really want to read it, though. You just re-released it.
Yeah. True, the tool is in your mind. Yeah, when I do that kind of thing, I feel my athame in my hand, but only because I've felt that in my hand for 40 years worth of feeling that in my hand. So I am evoking that feeling and that energy, but the necessity of having that tool in my hand has gone away. Envoy the Dragon. Okay, you must be new. You missed the thing that I said. Back in, oh, you're going to tell Brian. Fuck you. Back in the day, from the 60s through the 80s, all the way up to the 90s, witches typically borrowed portions of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram for circle construction. And that comes from the ceremonialists. So there's plenty of ceremonial magic in my system because that's how my ancestors started. And I know my students have been trained to change those things, add to them, make them their own over time. So I want to give them the oldest model to start off with. So when they're done changing it, it'll still be relatively intact. So we learned the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram for casting the circle. And it adheres to my rant that most people, if you hear somebody ranting this, they probably got it from me, and it's okay if they don't, give me credit. But when you banish, you must invoke. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram recognizes that. There's one set of movements in the beginning of the ritual that are banishing movements. And actually, I heard Power of the Occult lay this out on his thing. He did a video about this the other day. You do one set of movements that are all banishing, and it's Widdershins counterclockwise, and then you do the invoking process, which is done clockwise. So they banish and then they invoke. And well, I said that. So your Power of the Occult over here on YouTube. So is this the channel where your class is going to be happening? Maybe tell people Power of the Occult. That's one of my students over here. He's going to be teaching classes over here on YouTube. You should check it out. He seems to be doing a good job on TikTok so far. Okay, looking back and forth. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Everybody's making friends over here on TikTok. That's cool. Which game magic? Okay, I have missed nothing, I don't think. My grandmother always used to use the word Widdershins. Yes, you spelled it wrong, but yes. That's the name of our podcast, Widdershins. And back in the day, we didn't used to have to explain that because all witches knew that Widdershins was counterclockwise and Deosil was clockwise. They're just old words for those movements. So yes, Power of the Occult's first class comes out January 2nd. So if you're not in my class, and you don't have the money for my class, you get over here, Power of the Occult. He's be teaching some stuff too. But yes, my class starting January 1st, gumroad.com/witch school, WITCHSKEWL. But lately, there's been a lot of people buying my bundled courses. You can buy my older year and a day courses in bundled fashion and binge watch a year and a day's worth of witchcraft for whatever reason you don't want to spend a year studying that kind of thing. There's always a way. Right. Yes, my first class comes out January 2nd, right on the minute when the moon turns new. Well, that would be his time. But yeah, I think the moon turning, yeah, there's still time thing. Yeah, at any rate, yeah, check out his class over here. Check out Power of the Occult over here on YouTube. Over here, he's Damon Fain. And if you go to Damon Fain's channel, he's telling, his last couple videos are about his class that he's going to be starting. Invite Grammy Druid to go live together. You want to come on live, Grammy Druid? After you left last time, I said, God, I should have had Grammy Druid on. She had me on her live. Although you people on YouTube won't see that. You'll just have to hear it, I guess. All right. Grammy Druid hasn't answered if she wants to go on live yet. I mean, she's putting on her face. All right, we're waiting to see if Grammy Druid wants to come on live with us. She's got her hairs did. Let's see. Okay, you guys are talking back and forth. Okay, that's cool. Let's see if I missed anything over here on YouTube. It's funny you mention it, Lesser Banishing, Pentagram. I was doing research on it and I found a really simple version of it. There are different versions of it, but the more proper version has the banishing first. And that's what confused a lot of Wiccans. For the longest time, you had Wiccans trying to duplicate something that they didn't know what they were trying to duplicate, and they were invoking all of the elements with an earth banishing pentagram. Because somebody saw that, saw the ritual done and didn't understand the ritual. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram goes one movement counterclockwise with an earth banishing pentagram in each quarter, and then you move clockwise, and there's a specific invoking pentagram for each quarter. And if you want to learn that in a way that you'll never forget it, you get over here to YouTube and watch the Big A pentagram method. It's so heady that so many witches over the years have not gotten it down, cannot figure out how to remember to draw 4 different pentagrams 4 different ways. If you watch that video, trust me, you'll never forget how to do it again. There's just a way. All right, so we're still waiting to see if Grammy Druid wants to come on live with me. I'm just saying it again in case she missed it. 'Cause one time I was on her live and she had me on live and we had a good old time hanging with Grammy Druid. Modern something. LB. I'm not sure what you're saying, but no, the original lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram had a banishing movement before the invoking. Shows why I always kind of wonder, like, why they call it the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram? The shortest part of the ritual is banishing, the largest part of the ritual is invoking. And then, after you do the quarters, then you're doing the archangels and all of that stuff. That's all invoking, so I don't know. Really cannot draw one. My husband has to do it for me. So I'm telling you, Wiccan gang magic, go over to YouTube, write this down, the Big A pentagram method. You could steal that. You could copy that. You screen record it and post it on your page. I don't care. It's already on YouTube. I posted one of my YouTube videos recently. By doing that, I just screen captured it and then edited it. I've been really depressed. That tends to happen this time of year, and once you start connecting with the earth, you're going to be more affected by the movements of the earth. However, science has found, and probably our ancestors already knew this, burning frankincense. Get the resin frankincense, get yourself some coals, exercise good fire safety, and burn frankincense. Burning frankincense has been found by science to release negative ions. Negative ions are what makes us feel good. This is why I always kind of give people a hard time. Like, you got to use the words properly because nature doesn't care if you use them wrong. Do not send people positive energy when they're having a bad time. Positive energy is produced by positive ions, which are produced by electronics and shit. They cause depression and disease. Negative ions are produced by nature. They're found in the movement of water, and negative ions are negative energy. They cure depression and disease. You can even just have like an ion generator in your house, and that'll help with your depression.
I like to send people gentle energy.
Gentle energy, or if you want to go straight out, positivity or negativity. These are the metaphysic names for the words that we're trying to use. Or just send them good energy. Good is a word, but people are using positive and negative energy improperly, and if you send people positive energy when they're having a bad time, they're not going to have a good time. Banishing negative energy isn't good. No, banish negativity. Yes, or just say bad energy. Yeah, but that's the twist. The negative energy is the good energy that comes from nature. The positive energy is the bad energy that comes from human activity shit. And we're using the words wrong, and intent is not all that matters. Words matter. If you use the words wrong and the words are dictated to a specific meaning, then you're just doing it wrong. And I know, you probably never heard that before. Probably me and Christopher Penczak are the only people I've ever heard put that together. But hopefully people have read his books, heard me say it enough time that we get that out there. Because, I sure don't want you like hurting people when you're trying to help them. That's not what you're trying to do, right? Unclebirch coming to you live on TikTok and YouTube from the beautiful bywater area of New Orleans, a stone's throw from the French Quarter. Does it matter if you add myrrh? That's what I've been doing. Frankincense and myrrh go good together. I mean, normally you don't use frankincense by itself. It needs something with it, and myrrh is typically the thing that goes with it. But well, the reason why we have that is it's subtle. Myrrh was the incense for the moon goddess, and frankincense was the incense for the sun god. When you go back to ancient Egypt, they had a certain level of priests that was the only job they had all day long was throwing incense into the braziers. And it's like frankincense throughout the day, kaifi in the afternoon, which is the actual, blend, and then myrrh in the evening. And that was their whole job. It's just like, I just keep burning fucking incense all fucking day, every fucking night. I'm sure there's a shift change at some point, but then the next priest is gone. Those have been extremely potent incenses since then. If you don't know kaifi, you can look it up. Kaifi was such an important incense to the Egyptians that they chiseled the recipe on a temple wall. So the recipe hasn't changed for thousands of years. However, if you make it, there's one or two plants you're going to have to substitute because they're extinct species. There's a tree or two that are extinct in the original recipe of kaifi. But kaifi's got shit like honey, which I don't see honey in enough incenses these days. Raisins, red wine, just beautiful. Nothing like kaifi, and it's Kyphi is how you spell it. Kyphi. Look up the kaifi recipe, and you'll hopefully find that ancient Egyptian recipe. Funny story, my last job, management caught on to a money spell I was doing and literally changed the nightly payment schedule to use a card instead. Still didn't stop the working. They thought it was that. What is your problem, dog? You're welcome over there on TikTok.
Yes.
Hello, hound. I'm up here so people can see. There you go. Show me your face. Show me your face. Show me your face. Look at that camera. Now look at that camera. Say hi, Mojo. Okay, now get out of my face. Come on.
Like, no, I like it.
You gotta get down. You gotta get down, you fucking
loves
hound.
you.
He loves me too much. You are the clingiest fucking hound. Oh my god. You gotta be up in my face all the time, huh? Okay, now he's gonna be down there leaning against me the whole time.
Mojo.
Oh, everybody's saying hi, Mojo.
Mojo.
I've been reviewing Agrippa
Oh.
and his bit on learning from someone who is standing and not falling struck me hard this time. What does standing and not falling look like to you? To me, you learn from somebody that's happy and fortunate. That's standing. Falling is somebody that's always depressed and having a shitty fucking life. If the magics of your teacher are not working in their lives, they're probably not going to work for you either. Basically. He said, "Let me give it some camera time." Yep. Now he's standing on a chair over there. What's the IPA today? Today I'm doing a hazy little thing from Sierra Nevada. Little brew from California, from our old homeland. Because a lot of the IPAs in New Orleans are fucking weak as hell. I don't know why. So about that frankincense supplier. Oh, there are many out there. I can't think of a reputable one. I mean, I used to get mine from Azure Green. Azure Green's a kind of an occult warehouse. Like, you could run an entire witch store just with an Azure Green buyer's account. They have everything you could ever possibly need. And the thing with Azure Green is most of their stuff's pretty reputable, and um, a lot of their products are made by actual practitioners. Now you got, over your Latino side, we've got Indio Occult Clearinghouse, and a lot of their stuff is absolutely crap. Yes, India Pale Ale is IPA. It's too hot to brew beer in India, and when the during the colonization period for the British, and the beer would often spoil if they tried to ship it over because of the extreme heat. So they triple hopped it as a preservative, and thus was born IPA. So it was kind of having something to do with India, but not really. I have heard a lot about Etsy having a thing against witchcraft. Yes, India is garbage, absolutely. It's made in an East LA sweatshop. I've been there. So at least it's not a Chinese sweatshop, but still. I mean, they're not, literally enslaved and chained to the table, but, the working conditions are bad. However, the majority of the Latin American community they have to have the Indio products. Now, I recently was counseling somebody that was opening a shop, and one of the things I said to them, if you want to like jump into this business, start your own online store or something like that, you're better off going with something like Shopify. Shopify, you can do everything. Like I did it all on Shopify, so I could run my entire store from my phone, and every aspect. God, hopefully that doesn't mute me. Every aspect could be run by the phone, but something about Etsy. People just don't take Etsy shops seriously. No, I don't either. I had an Etsy shop. It was just too much of a pain in the ass. Somebody would order like one piece of cascarilla, $1.50. And I've got to go and ship $1.50's worth of stuff. They buy. You could buy like just such small amounts. It just not worth my fucking while. But there's just something about Etsy. There's just some people start out that way, but it's just not a format that a lot of people take very seriously. Shopify, yeah, you got it right. It's just an online. It's a hosting platform for a web shop. There's other ones out there, but I found Shopify worked the best for at the time I was closing my brick and mortar and gonna like go on the road with the family and see where we wanted to live. And we moved around a lot of places. We were in Hollywood for a year or two, and then we moved to New Orleans, and we're staying here. Zephyr Green, how the hell are you? Yes, yes, absolutely. Check out Zephyr Green over here on TikTok. Another one of my students that's impressing the hell out of me out there, teaching the real deal. Bees, thank you for answering my book questions the other day. You're welcome. You're welcome. I want to start a crochet business and either make trinkets for people.
Crochet, not crotchet.
I don't think that's how you spell crochet, but yeah, I think you're right. Crotchet.
Okay, it's all right except the first T.
Yeah, but I think you're right. It was supposed to be crochet. That sounds kind of cool.
I want to start a crochet business. I don't know
Any
what's in it.
tips for meds to help get over the COVID? Sick as a dog. Well, they have a pill now. I've heard.
I think you have to take the pill early on.
Yeah, I've heard vitamin D is important. Probiotics is really important when you got the COVID, or even to stay off the COVID. So like yogurts, that kind of stuff. Kombucha is always good for you if you can get past the taste. But well, damn, good luck for you. Hopefully you had the vaccine and it won't be too hardcore. A crotchet could be profitable, they're saying over here on
Yeah,
YouTube.
see? I was gonna say, I want to start a crotchet business.
Mullins will help with mucus. Oh, Mullen. Yeah,
Mullen,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Mullen's one of the few things that you can smoke that's actually good for your lungs. Hot diggity dog, how are you? I didn't see you over here. Hot dog, hot diggity dog. It's a brand new day, what you waiting for? Get up, get out, get on the floor. Hot diggity dog.
Sasha
Yeah.
doesn't even remember those songs.
It's the amount of brain space that's has the shows that my kids used to watch stuck in my head that my kid doesn't even remember those shows anymore. But there's the whole fucking song right there. You want me to do Perry the Platypus? I know that song too, man. He's a semi-aquatic, egg-laying mammal of action. Perry. He's a swift-footed flatfoot that never shrinks from the fray. He's got more than just mad skill. He's got a beaver tail and a bill. And the women swoon whenever they hear him say, he's Perry. Perry the Platypus.
Little Einstein.
Those were good shows. You climb aboard, ready to explore. There's so much to find. I like Little Einstein.
Yeah.
It was good, but he doesn't watch any of that shit anymore. Don't get my kids started. Perry rule. Perry does rule, man. I wish my kids still watch that fucking show. I mean, he doesn't really watch anything anymore except people on YouTube. You watch people on YouTube playing the game that he plays all fucking day.
Sometimes we can get him to watch a movie with us.
Yeah, watch Home Alone and Elf with us the other night. We were up till 2 in the fucking morning, but yeah. Oh, really? Well, you can look up the Perry the Platypus song here on YouTube. It's an epic song. Media, sorry. Okay. Unclebirch coming to you live on YouTube and TikTok, where we have the exact same amount of viewers on each platform. What a coincidence, but we don't believe in coincidence, do we? The sun watches Jamesu. I don't know that one. I mean, I still remember shit from the baby channel. The TikTok clock, kids and that shit. The wasted brain space.
Mice.
The little mice, yeah.
Bye, bye, bye.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go pee on something and I shall return. Like a dog, I'm gonna lift my leg.
Like the dog you are. No, don't pee on my hydrangeas.
Pee next to the hydrant.
Okay.
Ah, they're in a pot. I'm not gonna pee in the pot.
Okay.
In a pot, I go inside. Hey, this
Okay.
thing's got buds.
I know, it's had a bud for a long time. I'm waiting for it to do something.
5 buds.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just on this thing. I mean, the middle one over here, middle one over here.
Yeah, I think I told you about the top one like a week ago.
No, you didn't tell
Yes,
me.
I did. You
No,
weren't
you
listening.
didn't tell me.
You weren't listening.
You're keeping these things from me.
You weren't listening.
You and all of your secrets. Don't talk to me when I'm peeing. I'm trying to concentrate.
I'm not talking.
Yes, you
You're
are.
talking.
I'm not.
You're setting a bad example for the dogs.
No, I'm showing them where to pee.
Then I don't want them to go next to that pot.
Well, I'd rather have them go next to that pot than when they pee in the pot.
No, they could pee away from the pot.
Peas,
altogether.
dogs in the pot, 9 days cold. Something like that. Hello, I'm back. Don't break your wrist when you pee. I don't shake it that hard. Perry the Platypus is a character on the old cartoon Phineas and Ferb. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Perry was epic. I mean, Phineas and Ferb was just an epic fucking show. I could almost just watch that ourselves without the kids, man.
We don't need our kids.
That's right. We got Nick.
Watch it ourselves.
I'm paying for Nick.
Yeah. We can watch the baby channel by ourselves.
Yeah, I got the baby channel too. It's supposed to be a size joke. Okay, I get it. Harry,
I got it.
Harry the Bunny was my favorite. Oh wait, that was on the baby channel. Harry the Bunny. I think so. And Gaspar and Lisa. God. All right, we've gone down a weird fucking memory lane here. Where's Huey, Louie, and Dewey? They're not in the tree. Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans, where Mojo is backing it up, backing his ass up into me, putting all of his weight on me. It's a dog hug. We call it a Doug. Max and Ruby. I think I remember that one too. Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah. I mean, that takes me way back to my daughter. My daughter used to watch that show.
Yeah.
But two kids were all into SpongeBob.
Yep.
So I raised 2 generations on SpongeBob.
Yep.
It was a good show. Yeah. SpongeBob was a good show too. I could still watch SpongeBob for sure.
Yep.
Man, that's a good damn show.
Down, down, down,
God, everybody's got all these kids shows that they're throwing up here, man.
Oh,
Total Drama
something
Island.
got delivered.
Oh, really?
I wasn't expecting anything, but at 3:15 it got delivered.
All right. Move it off my leg. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I shall seek a box. Get out of my
I
way.
don't even know what it was. I wasn't expecting anything. It was handed directly to a resident. You sit on the throne of lies. Amazon. It said it was handed directly to a resident. Do you believe that?
Such bullshit.
Yeah, I know. Put it here.
So, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but these shotgun houses in New Orleans are kind of long. So when I'm walking down the side of the house, I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh.
I can hear you yapping over here.
I just said Amazon, you sit on a throne of lies.
Unless neighbor took it. No, they're pretty good at throwing it over our fence because, yeah, we got Porsche Pirates around here. How's the garden going? Not too much. We're getting ready to, we're going to plant again this spring. So the stuff that survived, the indoor garden's growing well. But, Aubrey Camino's doing all right. My rue didn't make it. I've got some rue growing in the hydroponic system inside.
You have mugwort there, too.
Milkweed. Got the milkweed growing all over. Hydrangeas.
We saw some egg laying yesterday with the milkweed.
Yes. Yes, the monarch found the milkweed, so soon the eggs will hatch and then the caterpillars will eat the milkweed till it's pretty much almost dead.
How many generations of caterpillars have we nurtured? Like 5 or 6?
Yeah. Gotta do something for the monarchs, man. If we had, space for a beehive, I'd have a beehive too. Love farming, moving from veggies to herbs this spring. Oh, cool. We're like going on 2 years in New Orleans and still trying to figure out, what grows well here and what doesn't.
I might have to hire a landscape person to tell me that.
I mean, the sun gets hot enough where the sun can just kill the plants. And in the summer, there's so much fucking rain. Like my rue, I had my rue for, 5 years. Didn't make it. It drowned. It's too much fucking rain, man. So I've sprouted some new rue off the seeds from the old rue, and I gotta have my rue. So I have a good rue plant growing in the house, but now I have to transfer it outside and see how it does. I always wanted to try beekeeping. Yeah, that'd be cool.
We talked about that too.
We can make like beeswax candles. Look at this dog's butt rammed up against my leg. What do you want, you hound? What?
He has to touch you.
What is it? It's an hour before dinner time.
And we have them on the brunch schedule. They had a late breakfast.
It's true. Every plant needs its own environment. Got to research every plant. Yeah. Well, there's stuff that we tried to grow here that we have friends around here that it did grow well for them. I think we had a drainage problem. I think
and we
had to
also
put
have
the
a
pots.
lot of shade. So
we have a lot of shade too. And then there was some stuff that was bugs. You know, the bugs came and ate it all.
They ate our
like
okra.
the potatoes and the okra, the mint. Yeah, so it's a learning curve still here in New Orleans. You know, I've spent my whole entire life in California. I can tell you what to grow there. But you know what wouldn't grow there? The Aubrey Camino.
Yeah.
It's growing here.
We've tried multiple times.
Dad Witch Voodoo and Alex, how are you? Dad Witch's Voodoo over here. His daughter's doing better witchcraft than a lot of y'all. You should go check it out. Rosemary's going. Oh yeah, I do have a rosemary that it should do well here. I see a lot of rosemary. You know, it's be the third time I've tried to grow rosemary here and not had it work, but I always have rosemary around. George Phillips does witchcraft recognize the tree of life as a format upon which to construct a ritual. Witchcraft that utilizes ceremonial magic principles, yes, but not as a rule. Saw the video about people who sting themselves with bees on purpose for medicine. I think I've seen that kind of thing too. I got 4 little bushes going. A bush here by the day. Hope we'll survive. Yep. Well, then, you know, last year we had that crazy freeze that killed a lot of things. You know, I covered as much stuff as I could, but some of the stuff that was in the ground just didn't make it. How do you get your seeds to start? I live in Miami, so you can see normal kitchens. I've just been getting random seeds on Amazon. There's a place in Canada where I get my auto flower seeds. Those are for a different kind of plant. But Aubrey Camino, I have not grown that from seed. I think Man Witch has managed to grow it in Oregon. He started it inside in a greenhouse, but it seems to be growing okay in Oregon. Maybe they have enough moisture. I don't know. It should need humidity. But I just buy the live plant off of Amazon. It's usually comes from Florida. Packaged in a way that I'm really shocked every time that the plant survives. The box was crushed, and a full plant in there with dirt and everything else. Richter's in Canada. Maybe I'll check that one out. I can't remember the place that I'm getting my stuff from. Any thoughts on the author Michelle W. Ford? I have no knowledge of that person, so I have no thoughts. I have to wait till it's warm to yeah, I got a few things. I'm waiting until it's definitely spring before I transplant them outside. We have this hydroponic system inside that Marta grows, like, you know, salad stuff,
herbs,
and, you know, some herbs and things.
Flowers too.
Yeah, and I started playing with other seeds to see if it would grow in there. So I got a rue growing in there and a couple occult plants, some of which I won't mention. That are growing really well in there, but I want to wait for it to be, you know, spring enough before I try and transplant them out here. Any good research? My shirt's in the way. Any good research?
Birthday.
Info on the something Luciferians. No. Pizza. Of course, pizza. That's all they said was pizza. What am I going to say something bad about pizza? Hawaiian pizza doesn't come from Hawaii. That's why it has Canadian bacon. If it was Hawaiian pizza, it would have Spam. Just saying. The crows cawing. Yes. I keep trying to get the crows to come down. I got a whole bag of peanuts just waiting to give them to the crows.
I saw one land on there and fly away with a peanut in its mouth.
I want them to see me giving the peanuts because crows remember the people that were nice to them, and they teach their offspring what people are nice to them, and then crows start coming around. So I want them to see me give them the peanuts. It's just not enough for them to just grab the peanuts off the roof. Unclebirch coming to you live from New Orleans. Probably won't be here a whole lot longer. It's getting to be 4 o'clock, which means, well, first of all, we're gonna have to go inside and see if our kid got his lazy ass out of bed. He's been on vacation, staying up way too late. When I came out here, he was not quite
Remember
risen.
When he came out all haggard to do the Christmas thing?
He's gonna have a hard time in a week when he goes back to school. Yep. I'm telling you. And then, you know, feeding the dogs. God, he hasn't had breakfast yet. All the normal schedule stuff's gone out of the window with this vacation thing. Try sunflower seeds. They're like crack to birds. We got plenty of sunflower seeds. I've been trying to get those to grow because in the soil in New Orleans, there's too much lead. So there's a lot of things, a lot of edible things you don't want to grow in the lead soil.
A lot of them you can grow though.
Yeah.
You just have to know the difference.
But you use sunflowers to leach the soil. You know, it cleans up the soil. But I unlike most of our friends, have not been able to get those motherfuckers to sprout yet. I don't know if I tried one in the inside garden. I should try.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever tried that.
Well,
Why the fuck didn't I try that?
They're supposed to, like, they kind of guarantee that it'll grow sunflowers.
Yeah. Some sort of a kit, I think, in there. I think there's a piece of paper. I don't know. I need to look at the thing. Local corvids. My local corvids were stealing my chicken eggs. I had to put up with them. What's a corvid? A dog or something?
Corvid?
A corvid. I don't know what that is. It kind of sounds familiar. It kind of sounds like a dog breed.
Maybe it's a COVID typo?
I heard crows like almonds. Might like almonds too. My necklace is drippy. Oh, I like that. Drippy's good. I grow those microgreens. It helps soak the seeds for 9 hours before you plant them. Yeah, it's a good idea. Well, most of our microgreens are growing in the hydroponic system inside, and it's like it waters itself. It turns on the light when it's supposed to turn on the light. It tells me when it needs water. It tells me when I have to clean the tank. It's like it's tied into the internet. There's cameras. We can look at the plants. There's apparently people on the other end from the company that look at our plants and tell us what to, you know.
They'll say, your plant is starting to flower, so they'll cut it back, and they give us advice.
And they even, you know, they give advice one time on, you know, trimming back a particular plant that is not exactly legal to grow.
They gave you advice on
that? They clearly said, yeah, this one looks like it's about ready to harvest. And sure enough, it was.
And then we get 10 new different vegetable seeds each month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're on like some club thing.
Well, you pay every month to have them water and do the lights and take care of everything, and then you get 10 seeds, 10 packages of seeds every month.
I'm jelly. My system is not automated. Well, it was not cheap, but we were able to make payments on the thing, so. There are cheaper systems out there. As I went over to Jen's the other day, she's got a little light.
Yeah, they have a bunch. They're
just pots.
Smaller. There's a lot of like tabletop ones that you would just put on your table. Mm-hmm. But ours is bigger.
Yes.
And we're growing petunias.
Petunias.
And lavender.
Hopefully we'll be able to transplant those out here somewhere. Have the petunias grow.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. You know, you just got to know that it's not going to be cold for a while.
We'll do it in the spring.
It's hard to tell. Yeah. I make my own RSO. I don't know what RSO is either. I don't know what a corvid is or an RSO. There's so much to learn. What's happening over here on YouTube? I used to have a raven offering spot where I left food for them in the big compost heap. They don't mind. They kept the hawks out of my yard and danced on my roof. Yeah, they're hardcore. They will totally take on hawks, especially like around spring when they're nesting and shit. No, you don't let any hawks get around. Corvids. Oh, crows, ravens. Really? I do not know that word. I do not know that word. It did not mean what I thought it meant. Rick Simpson oil. Wait, is that RSO? How do you know? We're talking over here on TikTok. What do you YouTube people, man? I don't know what you're up to. Now you do. Okay, yes, now I do. Corvids. Crows/ravens. And we do have ravens too. We have ravens and we have crows around here.
Baby.
All right, Rick Simpson oil. All right, so you make your own Rick Simpson oil. I don't know what that is. What's legal there? Rick Simpson oil? Okay, so I'm starting to think that Rick Simpson oil is a cannabis product. Yeah, we moved from a place where it was totally legal to a place where I have to.
We used to take our dog to
I used to take my dog to the pot store. They used to love it. They'd always give him a treat. Now we have to hold out for random dealers again and shit. It's like high school.
I could probably get away with the medical thing.
Yeah, but the medical things around here don't sell flour.
I know, but if I'm growing my own for medical reasons, nobody's gonna fuck with what I have.
That's true. All right, Unclebirch, I'm going to be with you probably till the end of the smoke. The dog's going, oh, really? Are you getting ready to leave? Are you getting ready to leave? You must be getting ready to go feed me. That must be what you're doing, huh? You must be getting ready to do something for me. Whatever else can you possibly be doing in your whole life? Let me lean my butt against you now. Really hard with my boniness. Fucking hound. Pass the boof. Okay, so that is cannabis oil. Okay. Haven't done a lot of that. I mean, back in the day, it was like honey oil when I was a kid. They got such crazy shit. They got wax and stuff. I don't even understand half the shit these kids have now. Don't get me on some community guideline violation over here on TikTok, because I'm going anyways, all right? I didn't say much. Well, I guess soon it'll be time to go back to TikTok and watch the accountability TikTok people tear each other apart. Do you reuse salt from the circle? Well, I don't typically use salt from my circle, but no, that's salt you want to get rid of. The salt absorbs any negativity that might be coming at you. You want to get rid of that salt far from your house. A dumpster somewhere. Don't throw it on the earth. Just kill the plants. This hound, this clingy hound. Like, this is how it is when I'm taking a crap. But he's standing on my pants around my ankles. Just standing there. Like, I must protect you while you crap. You are vulnerable right now. All right, just looking over here, seeing if any of y'all have anything to say. I'm gonna get out of here pretty soon, so if you have any last questions or something.
Oh, we have food.
Again, my class is gonna be starting on January 1st. Be found at gumroad.com/witchschool. WITCHSKEWL. I have 5 level 1 courses going right now. Do not join the wrong one. It must say January 2022. And it will not exist until January 2022. So You go over there, you make yourself an account, follow me, and you'll get a notification when it goes live. Oh God, really? I was horrified when I saw one professional quote unquote witch on TV. Hey, hey, Assy, go over there. Quit barking at the neighbor's cat. We have a cat. Are you allowed to bark at the cat? No.
No bark. No bark.
At any rate, I saw a quote unquote professional witch on TV casting a circle by drawing a huge circle of salt in the grass. Yeah, that's just great. You have a big circle of fucking dead grass for several hundred years. Great idea, dumbass. Tell that person I said they were a dumbass. Oh, these guys are getting antsy. All right. Well, hot diggity dog just joined right in time to see me leave. I'll be seeing you over here on TikTok. I'll be seeing you over here on YouTube. But until then,
He still has 40 minutes until dinner.
as our ancestors used to say, to remind us the troubled times through which we came and the breadcrumb trail that they left us to follow in the ways. Merry meet, merry part. Merry meet again, y'all. Let the crow have the final word.
Yeah.
Wait, wrong button. Bye, YouTube.